The urgent call of Our Lady. The uniqueness of the apparition of La Salette is not only confined to the visible signs, but also to the urgent message conveyed by Our Lady. As I delved into the history of this event, I was struck by Our Lady's emphasis on seemingly mundane issues like potatoes and crops. I understood that these references were meant to be interpreted both literally and figuratively, which only heightened my intrigue. Why was Our Lady expressing such concern? Her message, while echoing Fatima's call to prayer and sacrifice, also points to the specific complaints the Lord has against his people and the imminent consequences if hearts do not convert. Let's delve into the story of the two children of La Salette. Melanie, at 14 years old at the time of the apparitions, was a paradoxical figure. Born in Kor, she worked as a hired hand, tending to cows, and there she met Maximin. Despite her lack of formal education and rare church attendance, her kindness and humility were evident, contrasting with a childhood marked by hardships. Maximin, on the other hand, at 11 years old during the apparitions, represented the opposite of Melanie. Also born in Kor, he was the shepherd of the same cows. Described as outgoing and fearless, Maximin had never attended school, preferring to play rather than go to church. Yet, his kindness and generosity were undeniable, despite a life busy with amusements. And it was on a remarkable day, September 19, 1846, that their lives intertwined with celestial presence. While herding the cows in the gorge near the mountain, Melanie and Maximin witnessed a celestial scene. A radiant light manifested before them, revealing the figure of a woman. The experience, initially dazzling, turned into an encounter with Our Lady of La Salette, whose words and tears expressed a divine urgency. Thus, amid the mystery of the apparitions and the simplicity of the children's lives, unfolds a narrative laden with meaning and mystery, marked by the imperative call of Our Lady to conversion and reconciliation. The eyes of the beautiful woman, for a moment, met those of Melanie and Maximin, but soon turned away, remaining low as her words flowed. Melanie testified, "She cried the whole time she was talking to us. I saw tears stream from her eyes, a constant flow that did not cease." While awaiting her words, Melanie remained silent, reverent before the celestial figure. Maximin, on the other hand, behaved as if he were in front of anyone else. He played with his shepherd's staff, spinning it in the air and playing with small stones. Some even rolled to the woman's feet. An unusual scene, considering the accounts of other apparitions, where the seers were often dominated by fear and reverence, kneeling before the divine. In fact, Maximin, seeing the woman dressed plainly, did not recognize her divinity. He thought of her as an unfortunate neighbor, perhaps hungry, ready to steal their lunch. He even threatened to give her a good beating if she tried to harm them. Little did he know he was before the Blessed Virgin Mary. Later, when confronted about his lack of politeness and respect, he simply admitted not having recognized the woman's identity. Like an understanding mother, the Blessed Virgin Mary was not offended by Maximin's attitude. Instead, she patiently waited until he was ready to listen. Then, with a gentle voice, she revealed the urgency of her message, the need for conversion and reverence. Her words echoed with undeniable seriousness. She spoke about the weight of sin, about the need to observe the holy day, about the profanation of her son's name. She warned about the consequences of human indifference, of crops deteriorating as punishment for blasphemy and lack of repentance. Maximin, still not understanding the celestial nature of the woman before him, tried to contradict her, but soon found the truth in her words. His predictions were confirmed when, the following Christmas, the crops withered, reinforcing the divine message. In this exchange between the earthly and the divine, between the mundane and the sacred, emerges not only a narrative of apparition, but also a lesson of humility and faith. It is a reminder that even in the simplest forms, divinity can reveal itself, patiently waiting for us to acknowledge its presence and listen to its voice. Moreover, the few potatoes that remained, even kilometers away, rotted due to diseases. The cost of potatoes skyrocketed, making them almost inaccessible for most, and even those who could buy them ran the risk of acquiring diseased products. The potato blight was not confined to one region but spread throughout France, England, Germany, and Ireland. However, the inhabitants of Kor, who heeded the warning of the Blessed Virgin Mary and changed their ways, were blessed with abundant harvests of wheat, grapes, and of course, potatoes. The children, however, found themselves confused by the lady's message, as she spoke in French while they only understood the local patois. Melanie, seeking understanding, looked to Maximin for clarification. She confessed, "I did not understand what she said. I did not understand what she meant by patates." Instantly the lady replied, "Ah, my children, you do not understand. I will explain in another way." And so, she began to speak in patois, a language the children could understand. It is remarkable that Melanie, even with her limited knowledge of French, managed to comprehend part of the message of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Her exposure to the language, through visitors from outside and her own efforts after the apparition, allowed her to communicate minimally in French to respond to pilgrims' questions. Even struggling with the language, the true miracle lay in the children's ability to faithfully convey the message, word for word, in their own dialect, despite the lady speaking in French. The lady continued, warning of the dark future that awaited if there was no conversion and penance. She foresaw a great famine and suffering, especially among the younger children, and described a society in decline, where faith and religious rituals were mocked and neglected. The warning was clear. A change of heart was imperative to avoid imminent tragedy. In the town of Kor, Sundays were no longer sanctified by many. Instead of attending church, people busied themselves with work in the fields or household chores. Even when they did attend Mass, it was more like a social activity than an act of sincere devotion. When Our Lady mentioned that people went to church only to mock religion, she referred to the superficiality and lack of seriousness with which faith was treated. Although no one openly expressed disrespect for religion, the lack of piety was evident. Prayers were neglected, attire was inappropriate, and attention during the liturgy was scant. Some young people in the parish turned Mass into a game, disrupting the ceremony with tasteless jokes. When Our Lady mentioned the lack of observance of Lent, comparing it to dogs' excitement in front of a butcher's shop, she highlighted people's lack of commitment to religious practice. She then asked, "Do you pray well, my children?" Both Melanie and Maximin admitted they did not, demonstrating the need for spiritual guidance. Our Lady advised them to pray faithfully, even if it was just one Our Father and one Hail Mary, especially in the morning and evening. At another moment, she asked if they had seen spoiled wheat. Although both denied it, the Blessed Virgin Mary brought to Maximin's mind a specific memory when, at the Coin farm, he witnessed the destruction of the wheat. His father, concerned about the poor harvest, expressed his apprehensions about the future. The story evokes concern and the need for spiritual preparation in the face of adversity. Through these accounts, Our Lady emphasized the importance of devotion and prayer, especially in times of trial. Maximin recalled the incident mentioned by the lady. "Ah, yes, madam, I remember. I simply did not recall." The intervention of the Blessed Virgin Mary brought back this memory to strengthen others' belief. After the apparition, Maximin shared everything with his father, who believed the story. The memory of the ruined wheat moved him to tears as he recognized the authenticity of his son's account and acknowledged it as a divine sign. Then, in an unusual manner, the Blessed Virgin Mary prepared to depart. Melanie reported, when she finished her last words, she turned abruptly, crossed the stream, and without looking back, said in French, "Well, my children, make this known to all my people." As she walked, crossing the stream with a stone as a step, she repeated her words once more before disappearing into the distance. The children followed her in silence, absorbed by the beauty and voice of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Melanie described how the figure rose from the ground, hovering in the air before disappearing completely. Overwhelmed and fascinated by the encounter, the children speculated about the lady's identity. Melanie suggested, "Perhaps she is a great saint." Maximin regretted not asking to accompany her, had he known she was a saint. However, it was Melanie who, upon reflection, identified the woman as the Blessed Virgin Mary, spreading the news. The children were instructed to report to the curate of La Salette about the message received in the apparition. The curate took the report seriously, sharing it with the faithful in his sermons. Maximin, in his letter to the Pope, expressed his initial uncertainty about the lady's identity but later believed she was the Blessed Virgin Mary. He reported the woman's words, prophesying about the future of faith and the Church. These predictions, conveyed to the ecclesiastical authorities, became a subject of serious reflection and discussion among the faithful. The secret revealed to Melanie echoed the words of the Blessed Mother. "Melanie, there is something you will keep to yourself alone. The time of divine wrath approaches. If, after communicating to the people what I have already told you, and what I will still ask you to transmit, they do not convert, do not repent, and continue to profane the Lord's day and blaspheme the holy name of God, then punishment will be inevitable. My son will manifest his power. Paris, steeped in crimes, will be destroyed. Marseille will face its destruction soon. With these events, disorder will spread throughout the land, delivering the world to its own passions. The Pope will be persecuted from all sides. They will try to assassinate him, but no one will succeed. The Vicar of God will prevail again. In this period, the priests, the sisters, and the faithful servants of my son will be persecuted, and many will die for the faith. A famine will ravage the land. After these events, many will convert and recognize the divine intervention. A great leader will rise to power, reigning for a period during which religion will flourish and spread throughout the world, bringing abundance. However, humanity, satisfied, will plunge again into disorders, renouncing God and yielding to its passions. Among the ministers and the wives of Christ, some will stray, and this will be terrible. Finally, hell will settle on earth. The Antichrist will arise from a religious, but woe to those who will follow him. This time is not far away. Not 2 centuries will pass, my son. You will not reveal this message to anyone. You will not speak of it, not even to whom it refers, until I give you permission." She concluded with a plea to the Holy Father, the Pope, for his blessing. After the apparition, the community of Cour transformed its habits, becoming deeply devout. On September 19, 1851, the local bishop officially sanctioned public devotion and prayers to Our Lady of La Salette. Subsequently, on August 21, 1879, Pope Leo XIII granted canonical coronation to the image, now venerated in the Basilica of Our Lady of La Salette. Though the message is serious, we should not succumb to fear. The Blessed Mother did not come to cause terror, but to warn us and inspire change. We should reflect. Do we use God's name with respect? Do we reserve Sundays for Him? Can we increase our prayers, limit screen time, and dedicate moments to family? Let us restore to the Lord the Sundays and honor His sacred name. May we not only hear the message, but also put it into practice. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.